Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors. I really enjoyed that conversation with Preston Pittman. What a terrific advocate and ambassador he is for the state of Mississippi. Hey, before we get to our next guest, I noted that from the United States Attorney's Office, a press release they sent out last week, the headline: Louisiana men convicted of conspiracy to unlawfully transport live white-tailed deer from Mississippi to Louisiana. It said that according to court documents and statements in open court from October 2020 through June 2021, a guy by the name of Brandon Scott Farb of Baton Rouge and another guy, Jason Martin from Hackberry, let me get back in, entered into an agreement to transport and receive from Louisiana to Mississippi live white-tailed deer. In April 2021, Martin transported the deer as agreed upon and delivered to Mistletoe Properties, a permitted 850-acre high-fence enclosure for white-tailed deer operated by Farb in Adams County, Mississippi. Once delivered, the deer were put into an unpermitted breeding pen located on the property. The deer was transported from Louisiana without documentation in violation of Louisiana law, transported in Mississippi in violation of Mississippi law, and all in violation of federal law. Well, I don't have to tell you how much when guys like that put our state at risk like that, especially in the CWD arena that we're in today, it's incredibly irresponsible. And one of the reasons why I've really been against, and a growing number of people are against the sale and transfer of white-tailed deer in Mississippi. It's not legal in Mississippi, and hopefully it stays that way. But outlaws, man, we don't need outlaws in this state, but we got them. That's why we have law enforcement in this state, and that's one of the reasons I'm looking forward to visiting with my friend Brent Madden, who is the captain in charge of cadet training for law enforcement for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks, and someone I really enjoy visiting with. Brent, outlaws keep you guys busy, don't they?
Yes, sir. As I said earlier, that's job security, but I think I've said it in the past, 99.9% of the people we're dealing with are usually just trying to have a good time or fill their freezer up. It doesn't really mean they're outlaws. Sometimes people just aren't aware of rule or law changes, things of that nature. It happens.
Yeah. I was watching the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks Commission meeting where the statistics on the kind of violations you guys found, from spotlighting to hunting from the road to, large number of violations. You guys have been busy.
Yes, sir. And, that's just the statistics of it. And that doesn't go to show in, just a simple supplemental feeding case where somebody's dumping corn on the ground or something that we may walk 25 miles in a week just trying to catch somebody doing that. Or it may be 25 miles or 10 miles a week for 4 weeks before we catch them. That doesn't calculate the time and energy that we put into to developing a case.
Wow. I mean, it's just incredibly busy. What I was struck by in the presentation that was made in front of the commission is how committed you guys are and how coordinated you are. And what people have to get in their head is that in most counties in Mississippi may only have one conservation officer. And
yes, we are short-handed.
So but you still are able to get out there and do your work. And, make no mistake about it, you guys are serious about what you're doing, aren't you?
Yes, sir. And what makes the biggest difference is people that'll call us, whether it be call us directly if they have our personal cell number or a work cell number or the 1-800-BE-SMART number that they can report a violation. Because most of the time we don't just happen upon a violation. We knew it was there, especially the ones that we put in a lot of time with.
I tell you what it speaks to is that there are a lot of hunters, and you said this, 99.9% of the hunters want to do the right thing, want to hunt ethically, want to follow the law. They want to do all those things. But in the pursuit of their enjoying the outdoors, they come across people that maybe they're breaking the law, maybe they're trespassing, maybe they're have a feet or too close to a property line. It's interesting because a lot of the calls will come from people who are trying to reduce the amount of conflict we have. And conflict's a problem anyway when you're hunting on public land, and you got property next to someone else, you're trying to limit that. But when someone's working hard to break the law in pursuit of their wildlife, and you're not, it really upsets people. And thank God that the general public is engaged and they're willing to make that call.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're very thankful for it. Of course, you develop a trust with your public, and I tell our young officers, the first impact that you can make on a young hunter is hunter education. When we go to teach these hunter educations, a lot of them, that's the first time they see a game warden or conservation officer, and we make that initial impact. And from that point forward, and a lot of times we'll meet their parents at that class and exchange numbers, whatever. And that's how you make cases, is you develop contacts like that.
Yeah, it is. And over time, your officers get to know the people in their area. And I have in my case, and friends of mine that I hunt with, they have in their case. And it's it's just good to have that camaraderie, and it's good to be focused on following the law. But you and I have chatted about this before, but recruitment is real important to you guys. You have the officer, the cadet training that you're responsible for. But you guys are super serious about finding people who are good fits for law enforcement, for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. And recruitment is something that's on your mind all the time, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. We're actively recruiting right now. Our applications opened up January 13th, and they'll close February 13th. We go to different colleges, high schools, sometimes even elementaries, just trying to plant that seed. But our probably biggest recruitment are these officers in the field that come in contact with these hunters, especially the college age hunters, and may make a reference or a question of, man, what do I need to do to have your job? And just planting that seed goes a long way.
Hey, listen, let's remind people, if someone's actually interested or knows someone that might be a good fit for the department, what are some of the requirements of applying?
You've got to be at least 21 years of age. For this class, our hire date is hopefully going to be May 1st. So you need to be 21 by May 1st, not necessarily 21 by February and filling out your application. But before we hire you May 1st, we have to have you 21 years of age. You got to have at least 64 college hours or an associate's degree. Doesn't matter in what. You just got to have that number of hours or an associate's degree. Or if you're prior sworn, meaning that you've been to the police academy, you just have to have 2 years of law enforcement experience.
It's not like it used to be. As you and I talked about before, in the old days, they give you a car and a gun and say, good luck,
That's
today,
right.
Today the training is pretty darn intense. You guys, I mean, again, as you pointed out to me before, you're putting a conservation officer usually alone in an entire county, and they're typically the backup they have in most cases is going to be like the local sheriff department, for example.
Mm-hmm.
But they're out there by themselves, and so learning to obviously communicate, learning to sort of take the tension out of a situation so they can do their job and be safe. That's a lot about the kind of training you do, isn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. And that's one of the main things we teach them in the academy is, your best tool is not your gun on your belt or your taser or anything like that. It's your mouth and how you talk to people and treat people. And once again, 99.9% of the time, you treat people the way that you would want your grandmother or mother treated. They're gonna give you that same respect. And a lot of times, when we have to write somebody a citation, they thank us before we leave.
What does that say about the kind of communication that you guys are doing? You're still having tremendous respect for the people that are involved. Tell me about the hiring process, Brent. Remind me how that works.
So if someone applies in that January 13th, February 13th window, that all goes to Mississippi State Personnel Board. They can go to our website and it'll redirect them to Mississippi State Personnel Board website. And that's how they apply. Me personally, I won't get the applications till about middle of February, and then I have to create a spreadsheet. I will send out packets to whatever email they put in that packet, and they will actually fill that one out and either mail it to our main office in Jackson or hand deliver it there. Once they do that, we'll set up a PT and swim test, which consists of a 1.5 mile run, 2 minutes of push-ups, and an agility run where they pretty much sprint around some cones. The swim test is they just swim from one end of the pool to the other. It doesn't matter if they float on their back and swim, dog paddle. I just don't need them to touch the floor or the side of the pool from point A to point B. We do with that. We'll set them up an interview. Depending on the number of applicants, most of the time we do 2 sets of interviews, and then we'll have orientation, and then hire date May 1st, and then our academy this time will start, I believe, May 6th.
Very interesting. Hey, we're talking with Brent Madden. He is the captain in charge of cadet training for law enforcement at the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. When we come back on the other side, we'll talk about how long training is and just give you a sense of what a conservation officer does. We'll see you after this break. Welcome back to Super Talk Outdoors. I have Brent Madden with us today. He's head of the cadet training, the captain with the law enforcement for the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. He's also a dad. So let me be the first to congratulate you, Brent, on your daughter. Why don't you share the news?
She'll be playing basketball at Southeastern Baptist College in Laurel, and she's pretty much played basketball since she was old enough to dribble a ball. So she's put her time and energy and effort into it, and we're proud to see her be able to continue to play.
That's exciting, man. Congratulations to her and your family. Does she enjoy the outdoors?
She does. Now, I'll be honest, she's not the hunter that my son is. My son, if he can hunt it or trap it or whatever, he's going to be doing it.
Yeah, isn't that fun though? First of all, have a daughter just finding success and passion about something in her life, and your son's found passion in the outdoors in his life. That's cool. I mean, it's the most we could ever hope for as a parent, huh? Don't you think?
That's correct. And I've heard a lot of people say you keep them involved in sports, or especially the outdoors, you keep them out of trouble most of the time.
Yeah, I talked a lot about that at the beginning of the show, that we were talking about how, giving kids cell phones take away their idle time, and in the idle time is when they find their creativity. They become musicians and artists and outdoorsmen and all that. But if you bring a kid, like in your daughter's case, she's passionate about basketball, and that's awesome. Your son's case, he's passionate about the outdoors. Once they get that and they want to really get to the next level of enjoyment of doing that, that obsession kind of keeps them out of trouble. And I talk about that here on the show all the time. It's so important. So someone gets hired and they get into the training. Training starts in May. What's it? How long does that training, the officer training, take?
So they will, all in all, it's 24 weeks, it's 6 months. They will start our academy right off the bat, usually 8 to 10 weeks. Then they will go to the Mississippi Law Enforcement Officer Training Academy in Pearl for their actual law enforcement certification. That'll be 11 weeks. And then they'll come back to us and finish up. Our academy is actually 13 weeks, and whatever they don't finish up on the front end, they finish on the back end. And then our graduation date is right now scheduled for October 17th, which will be right in the middle of bow season, right before gun season opens, which is perfect for the FTO program.
And then do they get out and actually get some experience before being turned loose?
Well, they do. Obviously, they won't be put in the field at all until they graduate the academy. But the first 6 months after graduating the academy, they will be with a field training officer everywhere they go for 6 months. Wow!
So you guys aren't taking much chance, that's for sure. For people who join the program, get hired, get into training, do they usually stay in it, or is there some turnover sometimes?
There's turnover. Like anything else, some people chase the dollar. More money obviously helps, but me, if I didn't have to have the money, I would almost do it for free.
Isn't that awesome? That's so amazing. In fact, I said at the beginning of the show today, and then I said this last week as well, but the opportunity I had to celebrate the people in your department who are entrusted with the responsibility for conserving and managing the wildlife and fisheries and parks in the state. It's really a blessing. I covet the opportunity to spend time with you guys, because it has to be a passion for you guys to do what you do, doesn't it?
Yes, sir, it is. And the best part about the job is, not only do we kind of choose our own schedule based on the complaints that we're getting, but, if I'm just getting burnt out on working hunting, I'll go hook to my boat and go to the river and work the water for a while. So you've got that flexibility, and you're not stuck in office for most of our officers. And it's enjoyable, especially if you grew up in the outdoors. I mean, you're in your environment where you want to be.
Hey, listen, I say, at the beginning of every show, I talk about how Mississippi is the capital of the outdoors. But when you do your job, you get to see every nook and cranny of this state and the successes that people have in the outdoors. It's special, isn't it? This state is a special place, isn't it?
Yes, sir. As far as the experiences and all, nothing's really hits home more than a kid's first deer kill. I don't know what it is, but we pull up to a deer camp or something, and you see a kid smiling ear to ear, and he's got blood on his face. It's his day. It's his day to shine.
And by the way, when that happens, I would say, again, coming back to your description, 99.9% of the time, they are absolutely hooked. And you probably won't have to worry about that kid for the rest of their lives as they become responsible adults and enjoy the outdoors. And then they pass that love and that tradition on to their kids and their kids' kids. That's what it's all about. But, Brent, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you, my friend. It was good to see you're doing well.
Well, thank y'all for having us. And if you get a chance, come to Roosevelt State Park October 17th and come watch our graduation.
Oh, cool. That's very cool. Listen, this has been Brent Madden from the Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks. Have a great day. And as I always say, stay safe when you're in the outdoors. Always unload that gun and think tree stand safety always, always. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.